And thank you very much for this opportunity to speak at what I hope you realize is a very, very important meeting. Not only for the entrepreneurs over here who only get 1 minute, I get 15 minutes, which is quite a privilege. But for Barcelona, which has been my home, our family's home now for 4 years, I was able just to walk down to this meeting. But to Catalonia and the world, because literally these are the economic engines of our time. I think Steve was really the original young entrepreneur. He proved that we in our 20s could build something that exceeded $2 billion in revenue. And so all I wanted to do was play a little opening video. Besides, they didn't pay me for this speech, so I just thought I'd play videos to make it easy. But I put together a montage of some thoughts from Steve.
Building a company is really hard, and it requires your greatest persuasive abilities to hire the best people you can and keep them at your company and keep them working, doing the best work of their lives, hopefully.
I think one of the things that really separates us from the high primates is that we're tool builders. And I read a study that measured the efficiency of locomotion for various species on the planet. The condor used the least energy to move a kilometer. And humans came in with a rather unimpressive showing about a third of the way down the list. It was not too proud of a showing for the crown of creation. So that didn't look so good, but then somebody at Scientific American had the insight to test the efficiency of locomotion for a man on a bicycle. And a man on a bicycle, or a human on a bicycle, blew the condor away, completely off the top of the charts. And that's what a computer is to me. What a computer is to me is, it's the most remarkable tool that we've ever come up with. And it's the equivalent of a bicycle for our minds.
I was lucky. I found what I loved to do early in life. Woz and I started Apple in my parents' garage when I was 20. We worked hard, and in 10 years, Apple had grown from just the two of us in a garage into a $2 billion company with over 4,000 employees. We just released our finest creation, the Macintosh, a year earlier, and I just turned 30. And then I got fired. And so at 30, I was out, and very publicly out. People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it and you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly.
And so one of my favorite quotes of Steve is he said, look, I'm always amazed how overnight successes take a hell of a long time. And a lot of people don't realize that Apple was around for 25 years. It started in 1976. It wasn't until 2001 that they really figured out their business model. And at the time, they had 9,600 employees, so it's a good-sized company. But all of the market cap and all of the growth has happened since their 25th birthday. And so it is a long haul, and hopefully you can keep your passion alive as you move forward. And I called Apple's board, calling back Steve as the founder to run the company, the second greatest business decision I've ever seen made in the history of industry. And he ended up really learning some valuable lessons in what they called the wilderness years. And I think they're lessons that we can all embrace. When he was out building Pixar, he saw the power of having just one project to work on. How many of us are buried already at the beginning of 2013 with 10, 15, 75 things to do? And so when Steve came back into Apple, and remember they had handhelds and scanners and printers and laptops and desktops, he got out of all of those businesses, drew this famous 2x2 matrix, and said, look, we're just going to do 2 desktops, we're just going to do 2 laptops. He divided the company literally into 4 teams. walled them off so they only had one priority, and the rest is history. As of yesterday, they're still $7 billion ahead of ExxonMobil as the largest company on the planet. And the key was picking one thing at a time. Let's go after the iPod, and he spent 2 years getting it absolutely right. Then they added the iPhone, they added the iPad, and everything that they've done, you could probably sit right here on this small table, and it created the most valuable company on the planet. So I think that's lesson one. I think lesson two that we take from this decision is at the point when they hit the most valuable company in the world, their total global market position, though, was only 7% of the entire market. Yet that 7% represented 50% of the profitability of the entire industry. And so you don't need to get it all. In fact, I suggest you don't want it all. Your job is to find absolutely the right 7% where the marketplace is and let the rest of the competition fight over the other 93. And so my challenge to you first, and particularly you as entrepreneurs, is can you stay unbelievably laser-focused, giving it all for one thing over the next 24 months and get it out there into the marketplace? By the way, they interviewed me and they said, are there any apples in Catalonia? And I think there are two that I know of for sure, mainly because I advised one and invested in the other, and that is Softonic and Barcelona Housing Systems. And why do I believe that? Because they passed 3 tests. And these are the tests that you need to pass. Number one, are you going after something huge? Both of them are going after multi-billion-dollar market spaces. IBM says there's a need for 600 million low-cost homes in the world, and a Catalonian company, Barcelona Housing Systems, has the solution, which is number two. You have got a killer solution over anybody else in the competition. And then number three, they have an unbelievable team. Tomas and Amelia and the team over there at Softonic that I've enjoyed working with for 3 years, and the team that Thazar Martinel has been able to amass at Barcelona Housing Systems guarantee that they're going to be able to make their ideas a reality. By the way, Barcelona Housing Systems already landed the building of an entire city in Chile. They've already just put out a contract to build the first of 2,500 schools using their technology in Iraq via Kuwait. And so these are the kind of big ideas with elegant solutions and unbelievable teams that you need to assemble if you're going to be successful. Now, I want to talk a moment just about Facebook, because it took Steve 25 years, but Mark Zuckerberg did in 8 years what it would normally take companies 80 years. And so what did he figure out? And it's pretty simple. It all comes back to this. We're in the information age, and so it's all about intellectual capital. By the way, I found a picture of the male brain. It's a slightly different animal up there, but I'll move on. And the essence of their success so quickly was this. Whoops, I meant to move on, guys. Click. There it is. Is this. You first have got to get the right team on the bus. And that was great last century, but that is not sufficient this century. The reason Facebook has won so big, so fast, which I consider one of the great decisions made out there, is they built a business model that essentially employs 1 billion of us for free. They have a free 1 billion employees who are putting up and updating Facebook pages every moment. And that is what's built their business model. And so let me just suggest you have got to come to a very important reality. You are not smart enough alone to run your business. Your team is not smart enough to do it alone. Who wins and wins big are those who figure out how to get the most brains on the bus, firing your business model in the 21st century. Now, I want to share with you one of my favorite photos I got in last week, because this is the end point. Here's been a client of ours for many, many years, a company called Infusionsoft, who just 2 weeks ago closed on their latest round of $54 million from Goldman Sachs. And I love the photo. Clayton Mask was kind enough, this founder and CEO, to send it to me. It had a picture of my book when he actually took the photo when he signed the documents at Goldman Sachs. And so what were the things that they have done to be able to make it through all of this craziness to get to this point? And so let me just share a few of those, and then we'll wrap up here on time. Our basic premise is this, that routine or discipline will actually maintain and set you free. And that the challenge is, as you build these companies, they almost become like these anchors that you feel like alone you have to drag through the sands here on the beach. Yet if you do it right, if you get just a few basic disciplines in place that Mark Zuckerberg himself understands, you can turn that into wind to your back. And so I want you to keep those two images in mind, that whenever it starts feeling like this weight, ever heavy weight as you're growing, there are some things you can do to get that turned around. And our view is there are 4 decisions you absolutely have to get right. You have to get the people decisions right. You have to nail the strategy. Obviously, that means nothing if you don't execute on it. And then, look, whatever happens, you can't run out of cash along the way. And so that's kind of our virtual circle of the decisions that need to be made. Now, we've got some tools to help you, I hope. One of the ones that they're using over at Softonic, and I'll be with Barcelona Housing Systems this afternoon putting their 2013 plan together, is our one-page strategic plan. Because look, you have to get everybody on the same page. But you got to have the page first for everybody to get on. And then number 2, it seems crazy because a lot of us hate meetings, but the number 1 problem you will have when you get your first employee is communication. Anyone who's married understands that immediately. And so this rhythm of talking, and we're a being that needs to walk and talk, the thing that Steve Jobs did all the time to solve the big issues. And I think what's most important, I called it the 3 most important pages ever written in business, pages 114 to 116, and Jim Collins' Good to Great, was the counsel. Ramir, you and I were talking about this earlier. It's the one you picked up. It was the thing that I required Emilio and Tomas at Softonic to start 3 years ago, or I would not continue to help out there. And that was every Monday morning, yours is Friday, every Monday morning they have breakfast. Them and a couple of the key senior leaders, and they discuss strategy. Then they go into their operational execution meetings. And so if you only put one routine in place, that is put that inner circle together and go break bread together once a week and talk about the big stuff that matters. 2 last points. One of the first decisions you need to make is what word you're going to own in the marketplace. Clearly, Google grabbed search, stole it from Yahoo, so if you want to crush your competitor, steal their word right out from underneath them. Obviously, HubSpot with the inbound marketing. And I think what's cool, I'm picking my son up from football last night, and he's talking about this hot new service called Snapchat, who's created a whole new terminology. So what is the word you're going to own in the minds of the marketplace? And then last, to wrap up, let me just wrap up by saying you have the most unbelievable role model right here for what it takes to build a kick-ass company, and that is FC Barcelona. And what were the 4 things that we can learn from them that have made them literally the best football team in history? I think number 1, the power of the team. Messi wins the Golden Globe, but could not have done it without the rest of the team, and so they've amassed them perfectly. Number 2, speed, and that's always been their strategy, and you can't look back. And so if you can move faster, pulse faster, you're going to win faster. Number 3, I think what's critical is they're always on the offense. Anytime you feel like you're playing not to lose versus playing to win, the research is clear, you will lose. And so the 90th minute plus, they are staying on offense. The point Messi, again, got his 4 goals at this last match. And last, no one's ever achieved peak performance without a coach. Softonic has a coach. Barcelona Housing Systems has a coach. You can't do it alone. You need others. And so FC Barcelona, I think, provides exactly the 4 things you need. You need the team. You need speed. You need to stay on the offense and get some help. You guys, best of luck, and I look forward to listening to your 1 minute. Thank you so much.